Hey everyone, my name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at some I Don't Work Here Lady stories, so sit back, relax and enjoy. A wild Karen trying to get me fired from a job I didn't even own for not speaking Russian. And this story actually contains some Russian, so I'm sorry for the awful pronunciation. A little bit of backstory to understand this a little better. In Estonia, there are usually a lot of Russians going around, especially in summer. Many often learn Estonian because, well, they are living in a foreign country, it's the normal thing to do. Then there are just people who choose not to learn it despite living here because Estonia used to be occupied by Russians, so some believe that we should learn their language despite them literally living in a foreign country, which is quite an absurd expectation in my opinion. In summer, my friend had a part-time job at the beach as a carousel / bounce house / trampoline ticket salesman, plus having to help kids on the carousels. You get it, it's something a teen can handle. They didn't have any uniforms and usually would just sit in the shade near the actual employee chair / table until someone asked to buy a ticket, usually wearing summer clothes and a fanny pack for money. Sometimes I and some others would hang out at her workplace, since it was allowed and we were teens, so we were bored and had nowhere to be at. So basically, my friend was packing, as they were closing up, in the tent nearby, and I just happened to sit near the employee chair to make sure her backpack wasn't stolen. That's when it happened. This Russian lady in her 40s with blue eyeshadow on her eyes and leopard print leggings way too small for her stomach, squishing her waist and creating more rolls than there were, dragging her blonde kid by the wrist and pushing her 1 to 2 year old in a trolley, or whatever you call it in English, a baby trolley? There must be a better word for it, was waltzing towards me. I was absolutely terrified she was gonna make me babysit her kids while she was going to jump on the trampoline or something. But I realized quickly that she would have destroyed the trampoline, so I had no idea why she was coming towards me. Then it hit me. Oh no, she thinks I work here. The lady stated something in Russian and threw €2 on the nearby table, tapping her foot. I was sitting there absolutely confused, trying to mimic something as I couldn't remember my Russian from 6th grade, sitting on the bench next to the worker's chair. Then I realized how to end this madness. I was going to say the only thing I can say in Russian, "Я не понимаю по-русски," which means I don't understand Russian. Granted, I've been taught Russian from 6th grade, so I more or less understand some words in simple sentences, and can guess the meaning easily, I just can't speak it. She replied with something along the lines of, "How can you say that without knowing Russian? You're lying." Then she went on a huge rant of what I'm guessing, judging by how many times she said words like school, teach, Estonia, rude to Russians, how Estonians are rude to Russians and should learn Russian instead of being douchebags and speaking their own language in their own country. She was yelling her guts out until I understood a complete sentence. "Я хочу поговорить с менеджером, ты будешь уволены," or something along those lines, which means, I want to speak to the manager, you'll be fired. Then I remembered how to say I don't work, so I said, "Я не работаю," but her kid cut me off with his crying and her other kid kept demanding the bounce house. Then she was trying to comfort her kid and got quiet. This beach had ruined my day, so instead of telling her I don't work here during the quiet time, I waited for her kid to calm down. I promised myself I wouldn't be such a pushover and stood up, being taller than her by surprise. I was 15 and 5'9", and said in the loudest voice possible, exactly after when her kid calmed down, "Я не работаю." Literally, I don't work. I know how hard taking care of a kid can be, so I purposely yelled so she'd have to console her kid again. I felt like a douche, but I was tired of being a pushover. Kid started bawling, her other kid trying to run towards the bounce house and trying to make her mum take him there. She got so angry that she was actually red, screaming something, and literally dropped her baby into the sand, mentioning manager and that I should just do my job and not fool around just because they're Russian, multiple times, and I was scared that this woman was going to kick my butt from the rage. I may be a jerk, but I felt bad for the baby and rushed past that bench and picked it up, which infuriated the mother more, then put it in the trolley. No one should have a mum like that, I thought. Eventually, my friend's boss, who can speak Russian, asked what was going on. I said that this Russian witch thinks I work here. The lady started throwing a literal tantrum and crying about something. She was speaking fast and in Russian, trying so hard to be dramatic that her kid escaped into the bounce house, which I wasn't even going to try and stop because again, I don't work there. He then told her simply in Russian, "She doesn't work here and we're closing up anyway. Also, get your kid off there." This lady gets this look on her face that she's going to sue me, and no one listens to her, but leaves with a few Russian curse words, calling her bratty seeming kid over who had been interrupting this entire time by demanding to go to the bounce house and yelling for her mum. I was almost crying, thanks the man as friend's boss. Then he said, "Oh, I don't work here either. I was just bored and watched the show from the bench near the swings. You should probably learn Russian. She said some pretty nasty things about Estonians." Then proceeded to translate me what he said to the manager. Apparently, she said that I threw her precious baby into the sand, denied them of service because of where they're from, that she's a single mum and they should give my paycheck to her, how I mocked her, and how Estonians should all speak Russian. I thanked him again and he left to go get some ice cream. Then my friend finally came back and we started rolling up the carpets and deflating the bounce house, etc. After she was off duty, I couldn't wait to tell her the story, but she was busy telling me some of her issues, so it wasn't the right time. I thought I'd tell her some other day, and it's been half a year to this day and nobody knows this, so I'm happy to share it. That's kinda crazy that I've never thought about that. I always think like British people and American people expect everyone in the world to speak English when you go on holiday, but I never thought, oh, Russians do that to Estonians, etc. in other countries, so that's kinda whack. Do you work here? Yes, it is very warm here. Huh? What? I got done work early today and wanted to take advantage of a warm day and some unexpected free time. I work with a German Shepherd. I added a link to his picture at the bottom of this post, which I'll show on screen at the end, and have had towels, etc. in the car to give him a bath. I pulled into the designated spot at our local car and dog wash emporium and got out to check and see if the dog wash was open. Today was unseasonably warm in our area, and it's Saturday. The car wash was packed. This time of year, temperatures are usually below freezing and there is often snow on the ground. It was 55 and sunny today. There were people mowing their lawns. Unheard of for the end of December. It's usually snowblower weather. I mentioned the weather because the car wash area of the facility I was at was very busy. There was no open car wash bays and one open vacuum and shampoo station. This story winds up being about the empty vacuum station. When I got out of my car to check the dog wash room, a gentleman at the car wash bay got my attention and pointed to the dog wash. I could not hear him over all the noise, but his facial expression and body language were obvious he was asking me a question. I thought he was asking if I was going to use the dog wash, so I yelled yes and gave him a thumbs up sign. He then hurried to the lone empty vacuum and motioned to me. I thought he was making a joke. In fact, I thought it was funny he wanted me to vacuum my dog. He seemed confused about my reply and made more motions towards the vacuum, and kept trying to yell to me over the din of the 10 or 11 vacuums in pressure washers working to rid our town of road salt. Yes, we have had ice storms recently, so 55 is an extra Christmas present for us. I wasn't sure why he liked that vacuum so much, but my wife was homesick, and I wanted to get home and help her out by getting dinner for her and our son. I had confirmed the dog wash was free and had walked back to my car. I had my hand on the handle ready to get the dog out when I realized this guy was behind me. Actually, the car was shaking so much, it was the dog that let me know the guy was behind me. In a very heavy Eastern European accent, the gentleman told me the vacuum was broken and had taken his money. Then it hit me. He thinks the dog wash is the office, and he thinks I work there. I asked him if he asked me if I worked there when he motioned to the end door, and he said yes. I explained to him that I did not work there and that I thought he was asking me if I was there to use the dog wash. Some people like to wash dogs with the dejected, "woe is me" expressions as they get a bath. People often look into the dog wash as the pooches in the tub. Heck, my wife and I often take pictures of the dogs after they've been soaked down and lathered up. They look so pathetic. I managed to convey to the gentleman that I didn't work there and I was there to wash the dog. It wasn't until I pointed out the dog in the car that he finally realized there was a very large and angry dog focused on him. It was too loud to hear the dog, but he had my SUV shaking quite a bit. It took another couple minutes, but the man and I managed to get through the language barrier, and I showed him where the info was to call and report a problem and get a refund. And then I got to wash my partner. We did wind up with an audience. My glasses were getting fogged, so I took them off and went to put them on the shelf. When I looked up, there was a guy with his young son and daughter outside, and they were watching my dog as he did his best drowned rat impersonation. All three of them were smiling at the dog. You know, I should have charged them admission and given the money to the other guy for his vacuum losses. And here's the picture on screen. Yeah, my parents' dog absolutely hates getting baths, and when he gets a bath, he just looks like a complete rat. It's a Bedlington Terrier, so, it's weird. Lady demands to speak to my manager in a store I don't work in for hiding the donuts. This happened to me yesterday. I live in Scotland and everyone is super nice. I thought I would never see the day when I would meet a Karen. She didn't have the haircut, but she did have the chunky highlights. Anyways, onto the story. So I was on my day off from work yesterday and I wanted some junk food, so I went to my local supermarket. I left my car and walked into the store. Enter the crazy lady. She was right in the entrance, screaming at the security guard for blocking her entrance. I hoped I wouldn't have to deal with her BS, but boy was I wrong. I went to the bakery section and I took the last box of donuts. Thank God they still had donuts. As I was going to the frozen food to get some ice cream, I was attacked by the Kraken itself. She said, "Employees are not supposed to hide the foods they like in the back for themselves." Note, I was wearing a black tracksuit. I have read this subreddit long enough to know what was about to happen, and I was pretty sure the back room or whatever was on the other side at the back of the store. I replied, "Sorry ma'am, I don't work here. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to go." I started to walk away. She got mad. The crazy lady said in the most high-pitched voice I have ever heard, "I want to speak to your manager." I continued walking, completely ignoring her. She continued to shriek things like, "Manager" and "thief." I got my ice cream and was walking to the tills. Check out for you Americans. Then she came from an aisle out of nowhere with the manager and she said, That's him. He was stealing. With a huge grin on her face. I made a Pikachu face. The manager said, "Ma'am, he doesn't work here. And empty your pockets, please." So that's what I did. I put my things on the shelf and emptied my pockets. All I had was my wallet and my car keys. No, I drive a Mercedes A 2017 C63S to be precise. Her eyes are stuck on the car keys. She said, Those are my car keys. It's my Mercedes." Yes, she actually said it like that. And he punched and even took my donuts because he was jealous that I got the last pack. Fire him immediately. Now, even the manager knows she is talking trash. The manager said, "Ma'am, he does not work here. As for your claims, let me check the security footage, and if it's true, I will call the police." Now she made the Pikachu face. The manager went and came back, and he said, "Ma'am, leave this man alone or I will have to ask you to leave." Long story short, she was asked to leave and I got the donuts for free. Okay, she's just straight up crazy, like, who approaches a person and then says, "Oh, they're my car key," like she was trying to steal his car. Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more videos like it, then click on screen right now. And if you never want to miss out on a video, then hit subscribe, but I will see you all very soon.